Welcome to breaking news to me again. How many times do I have to tell you where you are? Anyways, you know the drill, not the hammer though. You can address any complaints to my past self who wrote that at midnight thinking it would be hilarious to put in the intro. Anyways, let's get into the episode. Today we're covering Silver Screen Interview. I thought that the name would be perfect since we are interviewing an actress in this episode. We begin with a scene of an article about Venus, the one Selenite News published. Also, I found out I've been pronouncing Selenite wrong for ages. It's Selenite. Kai's name isn't pronounced that way though, just to let you know. We're not going down that route because I don't like it. Also, this is my excuse to make it sound like he's not named after a rock. Because he is named after a rock. This is why you Google the pronunciation before naming your characters, guys. Now I have to pronounce it wrong for the rest of the series. And I will. Okay, back on track. Please. So as we can see, the faces of the characters in this half of the episode are obscured, and also the dialogue colors are color changing rather than one to represent who's speaking. I think it's quite easy to tell who it is still, but we don't know their intentions, so yeah. Anyways, we're then greeted with a scene of Kai in his fancy car. You'll notice the background for Kai's car has changed. That is because I hated it. It was so ugly. What is this? Come on. And I tried to convince myself not to do it for the sake of consistency, but then I was like, I would rather be inconsistent than consistently bad. Anyways, we allude to someone new being introduced by the name of Jin Oh. More on that next episode. So we finally met the long-awaited Neri Michelle. Let's talk about her design a bit. Neri dons a velvet halter top strung by chains and a matching chain belt with a pocket watch attached to it. If you remember Albert Lawrence, you'll notice that they both have pocket watches that are fairly similar in design. As her bodyguard, Neri and Lawrence are of course quite close. She wears star earrings because, to put it simply, as an actress she is a star, figuratively. But according to online definitions, seeing a star in the night sky can bring a sense of hope and optimism for the future. A star shape specifically can mean a beacon of hope or a shining light that guides the way, and it's a symbol of positivity, happiness, or renewal. She also has a star in her signature, which is seen in the background here. Also, just thought you should know she's rocking those red bottoms. Let's talk about her name now. I'm sure you can't wait to hear the deep and well thought out meaning of her name. Unfortunately, her name, it literally doesn't have one. Now, I know what you're thinking. Danish, how did you find a name with no meaning? Did you just slam your keyboard until it looked right? Or maybe you made a typo? Yeah, it was a typo. But not mine. So, a close friend of mine was trying to spell no, and instead she confidently, somehow, said Neri. So I was like, would it be deranged if I like that? Because I very much do like it. So I used it. It's whatever. It is actually a name though, and hopefully this made-up spelling is not an awful curse word in another language I don't know about. The actual name spelling would be different, and spelt with a Y instead of two I's. So let's talk about that name's meaning. Neri is a feminine title that means sea, and why is this so poetic? I'm sorry, what? Good for you, the bump. Yeah, I've seen more baby naming websites than I'd like to admit because of news to me. But I thought that I should note, on other sites it also says that it has an unknown meaning or unconfirmed meaning. Some sites say that the name originated from Maori. Anyways, we'll say that it means sea for our purposes. The name ended up having a similar meaning to Kai's name, which can mean ocean. And I thought that worked out beautifully. See, I use a lot of ocean or water metaphors in news to me, such as describing Kai as someone who is calm as water, or Venus saying that she felt like an empty bottle always being poured out. There will also be a lot more in the future, but we'll get there when we get there. And I thought it was really interesting how the meaning and symbolism of the ocean or water in general was different for each character. With Kai and Neri, we get a direct contrast. Kai has positive views of the ocean and sees it as a place with fond memories and something his character can be related to. On the other hand, Neri sees it as a painful memory. Maybe the future of Neri's parents were set in place once they named her after the ocean. Now let's talk about the name Michelle. The name is originally a variant of the French Michel, itself a derivation of the biblical name Michael. Michelle means who resembles God. Michelle has remained fashionable throughout the 20th and 21st centuries, buoyed in part by the Beatles' love song of the same name. What a history-full definition. Thank you, Google. And again, the bump. Why is it always the bump? Anyways, enough pondering. Let's look at some of her concept sketches that I teased last episode and then brutally tore you away from. Very mysterious. So after the interview, Kai receives a call from Venus. The characters are seen very playfully interacting with each other, as it seems their friendship is now more established after the events of the last episode. We also get to see Venus's terrible planning skills. Do you want to get in on the memes that pop up on the screen for approximately 3 seconds? Well, you can! And you can see them earlier than everyone else so that when the video comes out, you can comment like, "Ha, I bet you guys wish you were as cool as me. I've already spoiled this joke for myself." Join the official News to Me Discord server today and access sneak peeks which totally aren't posted on YouTube. Except for this one. But see them first! Participate in fun activities like a dead character's birthday, and use cute character emojis that my mom loves. You wouldn't want to disappoint my mother, would you? Huh? No, I'm not using you as a marketing tactic again, Mama. Probably. Join today at the link below. Okay, now that I've finished aggressively advertising to you, let's get back to the video. The visuals are relatively straightforward, so let's move on to the Easter eggs. Would you believe me if I said this episode has the lowest amount of Easter eggs? Because it does. Actually, most of them are just fun facts. Well, anyways, let's try and find some Easter eggs despite that. The article here actually does contain small tidbits of information that we didn't have before about Venus, reading The Celestines, an interview with Venus Celestine. After news of 2 assassins being sentenced to life in prison, there have been various misconceptions about their daughter, Venus Celestine. At Selenite News, we're getting to the bottom of these conceptions by interviewing Venus Celestine herself. We can also see that it's written by Kai personally. Venus Celestine was apprehensive about taking on the interview due to the media hounding her for offers. When asked how that affected her, did I use the wrong affected? Or is that the font just being really tiny? Okay, anyways, how that affected her personal life. She mentioned she had noticed multiple times that people with discreet cameras, notepads, and other documentation methods began following her around. She stated that she began to reduce her contact with outsiders and changed her route daily. After asking her if she had been trained in the arts of assassination, she answered, yes, from the youngest age possible. When asked how she felt about her training, Celestine responded, I wish I didn't know a single thing. More questions were asked later in the interview, however we'll get to her story in full first, and the rest is dialogue from episode 5. The ocean scene we see in full later is actually featured beforehand in the background as a painting. I assume Nuri has this hanging despite the pain it brings to commemorate her parents. Also, the background here is based off of a real place, the Ritz-Carlton, Malaysia, Kuala Lumpur. And the city background in this painting behind Kaya's photo I took. The sparkle in Kai's tie has finally returned. It was featured in episode 1, but for a while I forgot to include it and couldn't change the file, but now it's back and it's here to stay. Also, Venus keeps the rose from the last episode as a part of her daily outfit now. That's all this time. I wish I had more to show you. I do. But this episode actually had to be split into 2. If I kept all of it in one episode, it would have been about 39 minutes long. And I love editing, but I also don't love it that much. I'd like to keep a bit of my sanity. That being said, I'm so excited for you to see the next episode when I finish it. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this, prove it. Tell me how much you liked it with a comment. You have 5 seconds before this video self-destructs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Please? Okay, fair enough. I don't like it when YouTubers tell me to do that either. But in all seriousness, a like or comment is very appreciated here, and have a nice day. Kind regards, sorry, I've been writing too many emails. Bye!